What's up everyone? This is a video with my friend Helen. It's almost like a podcast. I have to apologize. The audio is really bad at some points. Basically a conversation between us about women and how a lot of us are kind of brainwashed, especially with men. And I wanted to interview her because Helen's actually the person I go to advice for in terms of dating. Because look, she's been married, she's had so much experience, and more than that, she is just the best person I know at giving advice, and she's very like grounded and level-headed with very minimal ego. She doesn't like watch content online about topics like this, and it's always worked out for her. She has such a positive mindset. Like, despite getting burnt by men, she is literally like so light, feminine, happy, healing. And what inspired this video was I saw this TikTok pop up, and it was like how to lock down a guy and get engaged within 3 months. And I messaged Helen because we always have these conversations, and I'm like, bro, like this video is so crazy. I feel like guys should be the one who are watching videos like, oh my god, how can I lock her down, versus the other way around. Like, why is us getting proposed to the prize? Do you even like want to spend your entire life with that man? I don't know. Why is that the goal? At the core of it, we're missing what is good for us and what we want. And this is what Helen is about and what she always preaches to me. And honestly, she has helped me rewire my brain a lot. So I wanted to get her on the channel, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. These are the timestamps. Ladies and genitals. Today on the channel, we have my really good friend, Helen. She's like the dating oracle, the dating expert. Helen got married when she was 22, right? 21 within 3 months. Divorced like over a year ago. In that year, like found the love of her life and everything. And seriously, she gives the best advice. I don't really take dating advice from anyone but Helen, because she's been through so much and she's just literally amazing. Every time, so I tell all my friends about you, and we're like, oh my god, we need to interview Helen and figure out how she is so amazing, because she puts like every man in a spell. It's true. No, it's true, I swear. And I even asked her ex-husband, I'm like, what is it about Helen? And we'll get into what he said in the video as well. But guys, this video, by the way, is not about how to like make a man obsessed with you. In fact, I think it's the polar opposite. This is what Helen is all about. Empowerment. I mean, kind of, but yeah. Okay, Helen, what do you want to say? Did I miss anything out in the intro?
I would just say that I think, like, to preface that, I think it's really funny that that's your take on me, because in my opinion, it's just really like being authentic to who I am and then aligning that outwardly, right? And then attracting the right person. So like, I think anyone can do this. It's not like a spell or a secret. It's not like we're buying curses to put people under spells. And yeah, we'll be talking about that. I think me and Simone always voice know each other, like consistently, like weekly, about new topics. So but yeah, hopefully the audience can get some key insights from this.
It's not so much a spell, but it's literally just who you are. And I think you attract such great guys into your life who treat you so well as well. And the fact that so quickly after the divorce you were able to find such an incredible guy, and like, you know, he's probably going to be your next husband as well. But Helen like moves on, and also you've lived in like 5 different countries. Yeah, she's always doing something new and just living the life.
I think that is the key though. It's almost like, if you don't do stuff and keep it moving, you're never going to meet people, right? If you're just sitting at home, scrolling on your phone, trying to manifesting only works when you pair it with actions. It's not like suddenly going to magically come out of the air. It's not like someone's going to knock on your door and be like, hey, date me, you know? You have to actively go out, meet people, make friends, live the life you want to live, and then that's when you bump into the right people.
Yeah, wait, let's talk about data collecting, because Helen's one of the originators of data collection before this was a thing on my channel. And this is how you met all these people, because you were just data collecting.
Yeah, so like, I guess for me previously when I was dating, like my mindset was very much like, I don't know what I want yet, so how can I really manifest like my dream man? Until I know what I want, which involves data collecting, right? Like I have to go out there, see what kind of people I like, don't like, what are the red flags, who I kind of intuitively like draw towards. Are they toxic? Because I think through that process you notice a lot about yourself. It's like maybe you have a pattern of continuously going for this type of guy that may not treat you well, and then that's something you have to address, and so forth. And there are just some people in the world that you just generally don't get along with, or some people you're attracted to, but doesn't mean they're going to make a good partner. And through that process, you need to find out like what you want in life, who you want to be, in order to then filter out and like manifest the right guy.
Yeah, and that's super important, because we were talking about this yesterday, how girls, when they're dating, they often just choose people who choose them, even if it's not the best guy for them, because they want to feel like literally chosen. Girls instead need to go out and find someone who's right for them, instead of looking for validation or their approval or to be chosen. They need to actually think, should I be choosing you to begin with? Because we can get so caught up in, does he like me? What can I do to make him like me? How to make him obsessed with me? And it should be the other way around. Like, I think guys should be watching, how do I marry this girl in 3 months? Instead of us watching videos, how to lock him down. How can I make her obsessed with me?
Okay, so I think the very basis comes from like knowing who I am, and that takes time, right? That's like, you know, you have to really believe in who you are. And I feel like a lot of times what happens is whoever is more confident or has a stronger pull, you then tend to get sucked into the narrative. And typically it's men, right? They seem to always know like what they want, where they're heading, da da da. And oftentimes, like when you're young, getting into a relationship, you're partnered up with someone, and then you get pulled into their narrative. And sometimes you don't develop your own, or you lose track of who you were going to be. So I think that's like a thing when it comes to relationships later down the line. But at the beginning, same thing applies. You don't know who you are, then how can you know who to look for and who to vet? You're just gonna say yes to this guy who's attractive enough, who gives you enough attention, but you're not actually thinking like whether or not like I want him. Is he husband material? Is he, you know, future father material? But of course, like this really depends. Like it depends who you are, right? Like I know a lot of friends that just want to work the corporate life. They want to be the boss, you know, and maybe they don't want to have kids ever. And so then to them, they need to think like maybe they don't need to vet a guy based on whether or not he will be a good husband, but whether or not he's gonna like help you get to your goals. So I feel like every woman has to like think for themselves who they want to be, and then they can develop like who they want in their lives after that.
And also at a subconscious level, if people are super unhealed or have bad attachment styles, they might date someone they don't like because that other person was so emotionally unavailable that they just wanted that validation that they like me. And that's what my friend and I were talking about last night. She doesn't even like this guy, he just doesn't want her. So she's so obsessed with him because she just wants to be chosen and to feel that from him. And also Helen and I often talk about how men love to say we're done by the time we're 30, and that's just not true. Yeah, men just love to instill fear, but it's actually their fear that they're projecting that, oh, I'm gonna be the one who's ending up alone. I had a DM recently from a guy, I assume he's in his 40s, like he's giving like incel vibes, and he said, I can tell you're old and you're alone. Like, first of all, I'm 24. You're old, you're alone, you're gonna grow even older with a bunch of cats. And he goes, meanwhile, I'm gonna grow old with my dogs. I'm like, okay, that's not much better, bro. And it's not just that, but men also love older women. Like, this is a thing. Like, MILFs are a thing, and yet they're out here going, you're expired. Like, bro, you're projecting and you're scared of the fact that, you know, women are always going to have options but you won't.
And also there is like this whole graph about how, you know, like people get married around 30, and then there's a lot of like second wave people coming out into the market because they get divorced at like 40 or 50. So it's like, you have to think about this day and age. Like, divorce is not that taboo. Like, you know, if you don't find your soulmate at 30, it just means he may only be single in 10 years.
Yeah, literally. Your soulmate's married right now. Like, don't stress. He'll get divorced soon.
But it's like, also it's like continuously who you are becoming as a person. And I just truly trust like you will come across the right person if you're on the right path, if you're continuously making sure you're on the right path, doing the things you want to do, you know, at the places you want to be, traveling to places you want to be. Do not like let anyone or any man hold you back. Like if you have a draw, like I have to go to Italy this summer, go. Like there's a reason why you have to explore that. But if a Dusty is at home being like, no, like you shouldn't go, like you shouldn't do solo traveling, or like I can't afford to go, like dump him.
Person is never going to hold you back, and they're going to encourage you. And I think you should never change yourself for a man, which I think women subconsciously do. You know those videos and it's like things men don't like, and I will be like, I don't give a fuck, and yeah, I'm watching the video because at a subconscious level I'm like, well, let me find out this information. And then maybe it even like, you know, becomes a part of how you're changing your behavior. And because my Instagram stories, sometimes I'm so weird on them and I'm thinking, oh my god, like my future husband could be watching this and he's not liking this, that I'm acting like such a clown right now. And I'm like, actually that's not true, because I don't need to change myself to ever please someone. Like the right person will just like who you are. And even, you know, on a manifestation energetic level, you can't really miss what's meant for you.
No, I so agree. So actually when I met my current boyfriend, who was like literally the best man I've ever met in my life, like, you know, beautiful, kind-hearted, like just amazing. Like I've never met anyone with such light energy than him. In a man, of course, like lots of women have this, but not a lot of men have this. And I was at my chaotic girl phase, you know, we all go through it after a toxic situation. Basically, I was like in such a bad state, like, you know, post-divorce. I just moved to a completely new country for the first time, like committedly. Before I was like living out of a suitcase, like digital nomad, irresponsible, being able to like live out of hotels and Airbnb. This time I decided, okay, I have a job, a corporate job in Hong Kong. I have to stay. And I'm in a completely new country that I really wanted to live in for so many years of my life. I'm finally here, but the society is completely different to everything I know. You know, we grew up Australian. We're not aware of how hyper-capitalistic Asia could be. Like now you're in Dubai, you kind of get it a little bit. So it's kind of like that. And then there's like misogyny at play and all these hidden kind of messages. Basically, I was like broken, not in a great state of mind, and I was just like going through life kind of chaotic. And when I met him, I told him, hey, I'm emotionally unavailable, like, you know. And then I think the way that he responded just gave me space and consideration and leniency, and he didn't look down on me at that moment. He was just very understanding, and he looked at me and he saw me for who I really was, and he's like, you're like a beautiful chaos, like. And I was like, I never felt so accepted by someone. Like typically when you date like high performing guys, they like vet you to see if you're worthy in a way, like whether or not you're worth to be my wife. But for the first time, I felt like me just existing was good enough for him. Like, and he saw me for who I was. So I think that is so true about like, you can't miss who you're meant to be with. After that, like I kind of woke up and I was like, okay, like no more chaotic Helen. And I cleaned up my act and I did everything I could to, you know, clear up the messes. I like deleted all the guys that I was talking to and I think after being hurt, like your natural response is to pendulum swing and like not care and like run and rampage and like talk to people and just do what you feel like, because you feel like you kind of deserve to act how you want because you were betrayed or hurt by a guy like that. So I think it was like a very natural occurrence that happened with me, and I think a lot of girls struggle with that. I don't think it's a struggle actually. It's a process. I think it's a canon event. Every girl goes through this. And sometimes I think if you don't have the right people around you, not good friends to check you, or, you know, coming across the right energy of like a guy, you could derail and, you know, kind of give up on love at that point. I think that's what happens to a lot of women.
Yeah, and what I loved is even after your divorce, you would always say, like, I choose not to give up on love. Like, I still believe it's out there, and you always just had such a positive mindset. So what do you think led you to finding your current partner? Besides just life happening, but like all of your actions, because I remember you were dating someone before.
Yeah.
And he was really great at the beginning. Like he was making notes of everything Helen likes and sending her parcels, and then it went like sideways.
Well, okay, so let me quickly talk about that. I feel like girls have to be continuously aware. Like some men are out here to just like give you effort and get you, but the moment that they get you, they switch up on you like that. They're like, okay, I have her now. Because they know, like, women and men work so differently. When we like someone, we're basically loyal. We commit. We're giving. And I think subconsciously or consciously, a lot of men take advantage of that. They think, oh, I have her now, I don't have to put effort in anymore. Like at first, me buying flowers, she loved it. But now she's gonna tolerate the disrespect. And it is like our own responsibility to monitor that and walk away when it no longer serves us. And that part, I think, is very hard.
But you're really good at standing on business, and you even went to Italy when you were on your break. That's what I love about Helen, is she like didn't give a fuck. She's like, I'm going to Italy with this other guy.
Well, I think also like, you know, I had things I wanted to do. You know, if you get an invitation to Italy and this man's fucking up, you should just go.
Exactly. But I think a lot of girls like might not do that because they're like, oh, what will he think? Like, I'll lose him and he'll be gone forever. But you're like, I don't care. Like, this is what's good for me, and I'm going to go and do that. Like, men always put themselves first. You put yourself first, which I love.
Okay, like, now that we're reflecting on the story, of course, like, this is what happened. But in the process, I also had thoughts like, oh, like, what if I lose him? Like, what if da-da-da? Even though he was being disrespectful and treated me badly. Even that, there's a fear, like, including my divorce, right? It took me, in my opinion, 6 months too long to leave that situation. But I think it's not a bad thing. I think it's actually a thing to be celebrated, that as women, we're so loyal, we're so loving, and we're giving. But we have to make sure to give it to the right person. This is why I truly believe you have to gatekeep and vet the guys that you date.
Go on to another topic that Helen and I often talk about, male friends.
Oh my god, let's do that one.
Yeah, okay, Helen, would you like to start?
Okay, so I think throughout the process in the last 2 years, I kind of had an inkling and a theory that a lot of male friends are not actually good for us, or they're not giving or nurturing or healing like a female friendship would. And a lot of times, a lot of male friends are just there to take. They're here to take your emotional support, your energy, and, or, you know, what's even worse, if they are giving, but they're actually waiting for you to give them a chance. And there is nothing more of a time waste than that. You could spend like 2 years being friends with someone, and then the moment they get rejected, they leave. So were they ever really there for you in the first place, or were they just waiting for a chance to date you?
Actually, Helen is what inspired me to cut off a lot of my male friendships in my life, and even just like men in general who were there. I like block them on Instagram. I don't need them around, because when you take a step back, you can really feel like an energetic difference within yourself. Like, if that person's nearby, I feel like they're almost siphoning my energy and my time, and nothing, I really think back to a lot of the friendships I had with men, nothing productive has ever come from it. And it's not even about productivity. It's like they haven't helped me or gave me anything in life, added value, whilst I have been there like supporting them, giving them advice, everything, and they just take. When you don't suit their agenda anymore, they leave, and then they come back one day.
I mean, we're not saying that all men are bad, obviously, or all male friendships are bad, but I'm just saying, like, really, like, look into your friendships. Yeah.
A lot though.
Like, look into your own friendships and just, like, monitor how you actually feel, and, like, what are you giving and what are they taking, and then compare it with a female friendship. It's like, when you are broken, going through a breakup, they're like literally healing you, hanging out, talking to you, giving you advice. And then most of the time, if you're talking to a man about a breakup or this guy treated me bad, whatever, a lot of times either they don't have the empathy for it, they can't empathize with you,
Yeah.
or they just look down on you. What are we getting from them? Not much, most of the time.
I just feel better, yeah, not having these guys in my life and putting that energy that I would give to them towards myself, and then one day like my future partner.
Yes,
Like
literally.
it's so much better.
Yeah, I know, I so agree. I feel like now that we're growing up a little bit, like I think we're becoming more in tune of the value of our presence as a woman.
Yes.
But when you're young, the world scams you and tell you that you're not the prize, like the man is. Like, listen to the guys, they know, but it's false actually.
Okay, that reminded me, you sent me a reel on Instagram, and wasn't it like a guy with I can't remember if he was rich or not, but yes, they were in Emirates business class, and he was with a girl who wasn't attractive, and then Helen said something that was so true. Do you want to share what you said?
Yeah, like the whole premise of the video is like he's succeeding, right? Like he probably has his own business, but he took a video of his partner where, you know, the girl is like average looking, and all the men in the comments are dragging him, being so toxic to him, like being so mean to her and being so mean to him, being like, oh, you have no self-respect, like you don't even, like you're not even successful because actually you have an ugly girlfriend. And so I think reading that made me think, wow, actually it's like men is just the toxic one in general, like to other men, to women, and they value like a woman's looks so highly that it diminishes like all this guy's success. He's like literally sitting in first class or business class, taking his girlfriend who he's in love with somewhere on a holiday, and they're so bitter about it. And I was just shocked.
Yeah, because it shows how much our presence has value, and more than that, if you are a beautiful woman, that means more than a man's wealth. Like beauty is a commodity, presence is a commodity.
I mean, it is true. Like why do, you know, like older rich men always go for a pretty girl? Like they might not even get along, but just having her presence around like elevates him. Like it shows him he's somebody. And this is like for everyone. Like why are guys like consistently like so nice to pretty girls and want to be friends with pretty girls, but wouldn't really pay attention or give that same treatment to someone who they don't deem as attractive? And the validation they get from other men, I think it depends who it is. So if your boyfriend or partner cares a lot about what other guys think of him, you have to be careful, I think, because you might just be an accessory, I think.
There was something I was reading about recently, how, you know, Jay-Z always cheats on Beyonce even though she's so beautiful, so successful, and people were saying it's because that's not his dream woman, even though objectively she is so amazing, but he just feels good being with her because she is like such a prize, such an accessory. So why would he let that go? Because she's so great, like maybe he doesn't even have that level of self-esteem or confidence to properly be with her, and that's why, you know, you see guys cheating with girls so far below their current partner because that's how they feel inside, so they run to someone so less.
Well, I also think like some men just don't have standards.
That's so true. Oh my god, Helen, wait, did I tell you this? I'll tell the audience as well. I'm gonna cut out the brand name. Leap brand is a very famous brand in Europe, and I met the son of this brand on Briar, okay? And this was a few years ago, and we're playing like this game in Paris back and forth. I never met him, but like we were meant to. And then I found out he was cheating on his girlfriend through LinkedIn. So fast forward, guys, I told the girlfriend, he was like cussing me out, like, you ugly bitch, like all of this stuff. I blocked him, okay? Years later, I actually ended up going out with his best friend. This was recently in Dubai. And then he told him, and that he was like not Snapchatting me, using like his friend's phone to like send me photos and stuff and try to get my attention. And then he popped up on my Raya again. And I'm like, you know what? I wonder if this man swiped right. So I swiped right to see. He did. And because he was so crazy, I fully expected him to start like cussing me out again, like revenge plan. He didn't. You know what he did? He immediately changed his Raya photo to something hotter to like try to get me to message him first, and I didn't. And I was just like flabbergasted because men don't give a fuck. Like, I told your girlfriend you're cheating, dude. You hated me. And just because I went out with your friend, now there's probably like a little bit of competition. Like, men just want to feel like, oh, I can get that girl as well. And you just forgot about everything that happened. Like, there's no self-respect there.
I honestly feel like when a guy like hates a girl, they don't actually hate her. Like, there is something there, because if you generally don't care about someone, you don't think about them. It's indifference. So actually I saw like a TikTok, and the girl's essentially like, I'm so sorry to tell you that, like, if your boyfriend thinks there's a girl that's annoying at work, he wants to sleep with her. And reflecting back, it's so true.
Almost like they're repressing it within them. It's a reaction formation, just like, you know, if you have a boyfriend and he's super homophobic, like, sorry, that man is gay. And my ex, okay, well, my first boyfriend, he would always like, he would hate on women. He was a woman hater, okay? And when we would be watching TikTok, he'd be like, oh my God, that girl looks so bad. When we broke up and I went through his following, the girls he followed looked like everyone he hated on. Yeah. Like, I was shocked.
Wait, I actually have to say this. Like, I think, like, obviously humans in general, but men are the kings of projection. Like, whatever they hate or think about, they will try and tear you down on that. How many times have you dated a guy and later realize it's because he's insecure, that's why he's tearing you down or trying to hold you down?
100%. They completely project. It's just like how girls, we don't go to the club to find a man. We go to the club to dance and have fun with our girlfriends, right? Guys go purely to try and get laid. So that's why they're like, I don't want a girl who's going to the club, because they think we're going to get laid as well. And also they're afraid of other men because they know what they're like, because they're out here doing this to women.
Oh my God, I literally saw a meme the other day where they were like, if your boyfriend is like telling you that don't have guy friends because I know what they're like, and you're thinking, but you are them. So you were them. So what happened? I, now that we're together, realize that like life is really, really great when your partner is like your best friend. Like, whatever, the first little thing he like comes and tells me, and vice versa. And we're just like best friends, and it just feels really good not having to like divide that attention up between like your other friends and segregating and that. But obviously, like, before you find that, you don't know what could be out there. I think it's really like, when I was younger, I didn't know like what relationship could be like, or like what my ideal dream relationship was. So I just went off by bucket listing. I just went, okay, like, these are the things I want in a guy, tick 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 tick. And then, oh, we're also aligned in life, tick 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 tick. So that, like, working with the data that I had at 21, I truly believe like this was my person. Like, I found like my dream person, and this is who I will like spend the rest of my life with, blah blah blah. But you don't realize how much you change between 21 and 25. Just like growing up, being in tune with who you are, growing into yourself. So there's like a lot of factors that I didn't know at the time, like what kind of relationship I wanted. Like, I wanted someone to hang with all the time. But obviously, if someone is like, have more of a stronger opinion than me, like my ex did, he would be like, well, like, I just need a lot of solitude time, or like I need a lot of time alone, and like, I'm not really interested in like what you're yapping about right now. Like, can we only talk about stuff that I'm interested in? And like, when you're so young and susceptible, you think, okay, like, because you're understanding, right? As women, we're understanding. So we're like, okay, like, no worries, like, let's just go with that. So you sacrifice one thing, two things, before you know it, you've lost pieces of yourself. I think it's a learning process, but if you find that something's not sitting right in your situation, in your relationship, like, always trust your instincts. I feel like as girls, we don't trust ourselves enough. We always want to check with someone else, get data, like watch a video, and then we're so susceptible to like what other people are saying, we actually forget like what do we want, because it's not one size fit all. Like what could work for me could not work for Simone, and what could work for Simone doesn't apply to the audience, and so forth.
Yeah, you're right. And that's why I think you're so amazing at giving advice when it comes to dating, because truly I was in a situation last year, not a situationship guys, karmic partner, and Helen helped me the most. I think a lot of other people's opinions like really confused me and derailed me, or they would completely project, but Helen would never tell me what to do. She would just kind of tell me her experience and guide me, and also just be like, this is a canon event, like it's fine. And that helped me get through it. Oh, and one thing I want to talk about is crashing out, because when Helen was in her chaotic era, and I'm not really in a chaotic era usually, she was like, you need to get into this, like just go and message this guy, because we weren't talking. And then when I finally did, because she encouraged me, I thought, oh my god, this was so easy. I wish I did it before, because I could have found out these things earlier and like gotten over it quicker. And I want to talk about that, like how crashing out is not always bad unless you're continuously doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think like because a lot of people tend to be like overthinkers, and like we keep conspiracizing and having theories in our head, but it's like not reality. Like you need to go get the data, find out what's the worst that could happen is like you realize this person is not right for you. That is literally the worst that could happen. Or if you progress, and of course like it's emotionally vulnerable and scary to like start something and then it not work out in 3 months. But I think everyone needs to switch that mindset and think about it more of a curiosity thing, like, oh, I'm here because I want to learn more about myself. I want to learn more about who else is out there in the world, rather than I'm betting all my coins on this one guy whether or not we work out. And like my life is over if it doesn't work out.
I also think about it this way, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter too much. Like if it doesn't work out with this guy you dated for a few months, it might not even work out with your first husband or your second husband. Like this can go on. Like there might not be a be all end all person, depending on your level of healing as well. So you might as well just go and do it, unless it's actually like damaging you and hurting people around you, then you should not.
No, so yeah, agree 100%. I think we all should trust our instincts, because I think everyone knows what they should do at the end of the day. You're just too afraid to do it. And
100%.
actually relating to this, I want to say that like I know previously when I was in the marriage and I wasn't sure if I wanted to divorce, even though I knew intuitively this was not the right situation for me. And I also know a lot of girls who are in long-term relationships who have doubts or not sure if this is the right person for them. I think at that point you're really just choosing to believe in yourself and whether or not you can like get someone better or find someone who's like your dream guy next. But like when you're in that mindset, it's just like working up the courage about whether or not you trust yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's really scary to leave a situation because everyone's very comfortable, everyone wants to stay in the same position that they are, and a lot like, okay, sometimes, not always, these guys are gaslighting you, saying like, no one's gonna love you as much as I can. You're not gonna find better than me. Like, trust me, you will. Like, especially when it's a guy saying that to you, it's because he's insecure and he knows he's not doing enough. So therefore, he's trying to keep you small because he knows you're better than him.
Yes. Oh my god, guys, my first boyfriend, he was like to me, you're never gonna find someone like me. Bro, that's the point. And like since then, everyone has been like so much better than him. And he stayed as the exact same person. And I think about if I had stayed with him, what my life would be like. Like I would not be living my dream life now. He would have held me back. And he kept me small as well. Like I remember in that relationship, I completely lost myself. And everything I loved, I pretended I didn't love it because maybe he loved it more. For example, fashion. I have always loved fashion. But he's like archival fashion guy. So I had to pretend I didn't like fashion because he's into archival fashion or whatever. And everything else, like even like entrepreneurship, I made more money than him. I would lie about this because he felt so small. And even when he came begging for me back, he wanted to know how much money I was making. Yes.
Oh wait, actually the guy that I had a toxic situation with in Hong Kong, he lied to me that he made more money than me, because when I first got the job, I was like, oh, because my first job in Hong Kong, I asked him to like check over the contract for me, so he knew exactly how much I made. And then later, when I was like, this man's not right for me, I left. I found a document in his drawer that stated how much he made, and it was less than half of what I was making. Yet the entire time, he was gaslighting me, saying, no, like, not even close. Like, you're not even making close to what I'm making. I know.
Wait, is this the rich Hong Kong family guy?
But okay, wait, that's another like separate story. Like, maybe we should go through like the dating profiles of the data we learned in another time.
Yeah.
But it's like I feel like between me and Simone, we come across so many like different profiles of people that are ranging from high performers to self-made to, you know, like family money. They all have different like toxicity. And
yes, it's true.
Well, I think like a tip I would give to girls is like, you need to look at like what the family is like, what the family dynamic is like. Because if, for example, like you want to be a stay-at-home wife, you need to look at the mom. Was she or not? Because if she was working, hustling, I think most of the time the guy is going to expect or want or think that this is how a woman should be. And so it really depends like what kind of life you want. You know, collect data. Don't be afraid to go after the data.
And okay, that reminds me, let's talk about traditional values, because I was telling Helen about this guy I was like very briefly talking to, and he was saying, he had on his profile, I'm looking for a traditional woman. And look, if I see that, I usually swipe left, but everything else about his profile was okay, especially like given Dubai, everyone's a red flag here. So I'm like, let me give him a chance, okay? See what's up. We had a conversation about traditional values, and he's like, men and women are so different. Like, if we're having a baby, I'm not gonna wake up in the middle of the night to change the diapers because I'm the breadwinner. Like, my wife is the one cooking and cleaning, and I'm like, that's disgusting, because it's not even seeing your wife as a human at this point. It's like a slave. While, for example, in Helen's relationship, your boyfriend like cooks and cleans for you because he loves you, right? Like, he just wants you to be happy and you want him to be happy. And it's an individual dynamic that's different between relationships. And like one of my other friends who's in a very healthy relationship, she's like, you can't listen to this type of advice because you're boxing people in and removing what they are individually like.
Well, I also think like with that, it also depends on like their own standards for themselves. Like, I was like reading this thing and I totally agree with it. I think girls need to also look at a man's lifestyle and also date for their lifestyles, because if a guy is like very neat, very clean, he's gonna do that for himself regardless. He's not gonna feel like he has to change and wash his underwear and wash the dishes because he's already doing that. So to him, it's like common sense. But if you're dating someone who, for example, doesn't think buying flowers is cute, doesn't think it's necessary, you're just like fighting an uphill battle consistently, trying to tell him like how to make you happy. Obviously not always, because I don't think like you can find a perfect guy out of the box like that. I think you need to communicate, but I think there are some fundamentals. Like, I have the 75% rule where if someone doesn't match what you want 75%, it's hard to match to 100%. If anyone dips below 75%, I feel like you should just, you know, release them back into the sea. But if they're 75%, you can make up that 25% together. I also looked at, like, well, I asked him about his childhood, and he basically told me his dad made all the money, cooked, cleaned, and took care of them. And I was like, oh, like, most men lie, and the most high-performing men come out here and say, I don't have the capacity for that, I don't have the bandwidth for that. That's a lie, because apparently they do exist, they're out there. But also, women do this since the dawn of time. Like, we've been cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, and working these days. Like, how are you gonna tell me like you can't do that? Like, we have the same amount of brain cells, do we not? Don't let a man tell you like he's too busy.
That he can't cook and clean.
Yeah. No, actually my ex was literally like that. He was like, oh well, like if you like, I'm trying to be this important person, then I'm not gonna have capacity for XYZ. And you know, in theory it makes sense, but you're telling me if I didn't exist, you're also gonna not clean and not wash your own underwear? Like, I'm confused. Like, a lot of girls just give too many people a chance, and a lot of girls like never give anyone a chance. It's just like let's find a middle, you know? Like, again, let's go back to the 75% rule. If a guy ticks 75% of your boxes, seems like you might be aligned, give them a chance. But it's also like our own responsibility to communicate like what you like and don't like, and then if they do it or don't do it is when then you determine whether or not they're continuously right for you. Because if they do something that I don't like at the beginning, I'm not just gonna not say that to them and then block them or break up with them. I'm gonna communicate that, and if they step up, okay, cool, let's continue. But if they continuously disrespect you, you have to break up with them. You just gotta leave. Like, you're wasting time.
You know why I think you're also so good at this? Because what I noticed about Helen, and I haven't come across this before, you really don't have a big ego. Like, no, you're so confident and secure in yourself. I feel like someone can say something to you and you're not going to retaliate or like try to hit them back. You'll just be like, oh, okay, like cool. While a lot of girls, we do have ego. We're like, oh, I can't text him first because like blah 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 reason, and you're just like, why not? Like, I'm just gonna text and do it.
Because also, like, I want to do what I want to do, right? Like,
yes, you put yourself first. This is what I mean. You don't think about ego or even, okay, I wanted to say dignity, but that's not right. Let's not leave dignity out of it. You have dignity. Literally just ego. You do what you want. And when I was in my karmic thing and I didn't want to message him, Helen's like, why don't you just call him? Like 9 months later, out of the blue, never talked on the phone. She's like, just give him a call. That's what I would do. Hey, I want answers.
Because I've done that and it's always like been a good result for me. Like, there is, when I was younger, like 19, and I was like emotionally avoidant and I wasn't aware of my own emotions and I always ran from it. I had a situation for like 3 months and I basically ghosted him. Like, we were about to do it in bed and then I put my underwear back on and I like left, put my boots back on, put my underwear back on, and I drove off. And then, but I didn't know where I was going, so I like drove around the corner and then I like was doing my GPS. And then this guy runs out the house shirtless, somehow tracks that I'm around the corner, and it's like knocking on my window, being like, what's wrong? Like, what happened? It was like honestly so traumatizing, like for me and obviously him. But when I was young, I didn't know like why I did that. But I realized it's because something was wrong. But I didn't know like how to mitigate this or what to do, like how to explain it. Like, I just felt like intuitively something was wrong. But I felt guilty about it for years. So actually, like a couple of years later, like actually 2-3 years ago, I called him. And I was like, hey, like, are you around? Let's talk about this. Anyways, long story short, I was justified. So he was lying to me during the course of like our situationship, even though like he admitted it later, because he was like, I don't remember saying that. I don't think I would have said that. And I was like, you 100% said that. That's one of the things that threw me off. And he doesn't even remember like doing that. Whatever intuitively is telling you, like, it's true, just trust it. And also, he was trying to cheat on his girlfriend with me, so he's just a bad person.
No, he had a girlfriend.
I mean, after we met up, we talked,
and then he told me.
Oh, so yeah, you didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
Of course, like we weren't really in contact. Like, I blocked him, like we deleted each other, and then during that process, he tried to kiss me, and I was like, don't you have a girlfriend? And he's like, yeah, but, okay. He's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. He's like, it doesn't, like, nothing changes. And I was like, whoa, what do you mean? So, basically, after that experience, I was like, ew, like men are so scary. Like, not every man.
Okay,
Not every man.
Not every man.
Yeah. I was thinking about this recently. So I can be considered a man hater, right?
Yeah.
But I really should not have a reason to hate men, because I don't think any man has ever really done me too bad. Like, I've had good men around me, older guys, like my dad, even my mum's partner is so amazing. Yet, I hate men so much. And it's because of the content I consume, 1, 2, and I see what these guys are doing to girls, simply like on TikTok and whatever, and it kind of can warp your perception as well, where you're like, oh my god, every single man is like this. But it's just not true. Like, I look at Helen's partner, I look at my friend's partner, my mum's partner, like, there are great guys out there in the world, but you also have to be like a great non-toxic person to attract them, because someone who's, you know, done the work and isn't toxic, they're not going to be attracted to you if you're out here like playing games. And
there's a lot of content out there in the world which is like trying to tell women like what you should do, there's a formula, but I think a lot of times it's actually not authentic to who a girl is, you know. A lover doesn't really want to play games, and at the end of the day, like, attracting someone while playing games, it could also just mean that they like the game. And
yes, this is so true. And okay, touching back on like authenticity and being a lover girl, whatever. So one of my friends recently, I asked her, do you think I'm a red flag? Well, my friend, she actually said, yes, you are a red flag. And she's like, it's not in the way you think though. She's like, as a person and probably in dating, you're not a red flag. But when you portray yourself in a way that is a red flag and you're not authentic with these guys. And she gave me an example. Like, there was a guy who I was like friends with, or like flirt with for a long time, and like maybe I would see him when I was in Paris, and I got all my friends these little perfumes from Dubai because they're very famous here, and I was like, oh, should I get him one, like just as a little gift? And I didn't, because I thought, oh my god, that might scare him actually, and I don't want to give the wrong impression. And she said, that's just an example of how you're suppressing who you truly are. Like, that's who you are. Like, you're kind and you're thoughtful, but you don't want to show that because you're afraid he's going to get scared off. And like, the simple truth is, if he is not for me, he will be scared off, and that's totally fine. But you can't suppress who you are out of fear, really. You just have to be you.
Yeah, I agree. But obviously there are like some general rules, but it's not really about playing the game. I think these rules are rules that like should be about like retaining your energy and your safety. I think me and Simone both don't really believe in like sleeping with someone very quickly. Because I mean, personally, I just think like, I don't know if I can trust them. Like, you're literally at such a vulnerable state. You're naked.
Yeah.
You're partaking in this thing, which is very intimate.
And you can get pregnant or an STD. Like, sex is riskier for women than it is men.
Exactly. So, like, for me, it's not like I have a formula to play a game and make sure, like, that he's still attracted to you, because once he, like, has sex with you, he's bored. Anyways, like, a guy like that, you don't want to be your boyfriend, your future husband anyways, like, trash. So, about him. But it's more about like being careful and valuing your time, your safety, your energy. And so I think a lot of the things and advice that people give to women to like not do initially, it's framed as like something that to like manipulate and make sure that he's interested. But it actually should be like about retaining your energy and what you.
Also, if you keep on playing games, eventually the games need to stop, and you need to show your true self. And if you don't ever show that, you're going to be exhausted and living in a lie.
Exactly. And also like, there's so much like videos and advice for women, like, oh, how to get the guy, like, but then no one ever talks about like what happens after you get him, like when you start dating. Like,
so then it's like how to keep the guy, how to keep him interested and entertained.
Yeah,
I hate that.
So you're gonna play this song and dance for the rest of your life, or do you actually want to be authentically living your life and having a partner that is true to that life, so you guys can grow together and head the right direction?
This age-old narrative that would you rather have money or love? And it's like you can actually have both. And it's not like, also it's going to be incredibly rare for both things. You find true love, rare. You become incredibly rich, rare. It's not either or. The most likely scenario is you end up with someone like you have an okay relationship and you make okay money. You're not gonna end up like broke on the street, like begging and with the love of your life. Like that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like also what they don't touch on in that scenario is you also have to continuously level up. Continuously level up and be the person you want to be, because then you have to be in the right place to meet the right person. If you're not doing anything with your life, you're not going after the career, you're not traveling the places you want to go, you're never going to meet like the dream guy in your head that is rich, successful, ambitious, because you're not those groups. And then you guys will have nothing to talk about anyways. So you have to be the person to attract the person, and you also have to have a concept of who you want to be continuously. That you can filter out whether or not this person is going to fit into your vision of who you're becoming.
So story time, when I was 20 and I just got out of a relationship, I felt like a child still at 20. Like I didn't feel like a woman. And I remember writing on my list, I want to manifest a prince. And I kid you not, 2 weeks later, I had a DM from a prince. Like I googled him. He's a part of one royal family, super wealthy. He was like maybe 32. And he's like, hey, I'd love to like take you for dinner. For some reason, he thought I was in London. And I remember being terrified because I felt like a 16-year-old girl. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh my God, I want a rich prince. I couldn't handle that. Like guys, I was so cold to him. I really didn't talk to him because I couldn't handle that. Meanwhile, like 24-year-old me, if that happened, sure, like let's go to dinner, because I feel equal. I have my own career, my own success, I'm confident. But like a 20-year-old me, that's completely different. So I'm fully confident that the partner I attract is going to be on the same level, or you know, even if he's super high, I can still meet that. 20-year-old me could not.
Exactly. And if like you are kind of being a little delusional, frankly, about it, then even when you do use all the tricks and get together with someone, you're never going to feel good in that situation. You're never going to feel good around his friends, his family. When it comes to, you know, the relationship dynamics, truthfully, like I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are dating someone that's wrong for them, whether, you know, just in alignment on life, like what they want out of life, ambitious drive levels. And it's hard for someone to like understand you if you're not similar, to be honest. I'm not saying you have to be 100% like your partner, but it's like your background, like how you kind of grew up, whether or not they can like understand where you're coming from. Because if, for example, like I tomorrow was like, hey, I'm actually gonna be a writer, he's not gonna freak out and be like, no, like you don't have the skills for it, like you shouldn't do that, because he can't understand why I would pursue that, right? He's gonna encourage me because he truly believes that you can do anything in life as long as you put your heart to it, just like how I believe, right? But if you date someone that's very traditional and they only think that one path is the correct path, you're just always gonna be held back. You're always gonna pursue what you want to pursue.
He'll be like, get back to the kitchen.
Exactly. Like,
make me a sandwich, bitch.
Without feeding into the whole traditional values, like men thing, I feel like someone that, like most people that like put these like extreme or like these tags on their profiles are quite extreme with it. And I don't know if that's someone you want to be dating, because if they have extreme views, that means it's either their way or the highway. Like you have to fit into that narrative, or else you're gonna suffer, or just like you're just not compatible. Like we're also ever changing, and I feel like that's something that like people don't think about. It's like who you are now is not going to be who you are at 30, like in a few years and so forth. So it's like you have to pick a partner that is going to work alongside you and not work against you. And they're not just attached to the version of who you are at 21, at 24, 26. And they're actually there for you so that you guys can grow into your best selves together.
Yeah.
But I feel like some people, they think very short term, like, okay, like he's good looking, he's ripped, let's do that. But okay, so what happens if you want to get married? Like, is that going to happen? Like, what happens if you want to have kids? Like, is he going to let you stay at home and take care of the kids, or do you both have to work?
And what happens if you get sick?
Yeah, what? Oh my god.
That statistic, do we want to talk about that video?
Dude, I hate the stats. The stats
it's crazy.
are not looking good for women.
It was like 600 and men are 684 times more likely to leave a sick partner than a woman. And a woman, it was only like 2 or 6%, very, very low. And you open the comments and it's all like, yeah, I was taking care of my sick husband, and when I got sick, he left me. And one woman even said, when I was taking care of my husband with cancer, he said to me, why are you still here? I would have left you. And she still took care of him for years until he died.
Yeah, this is the story that is way too common, and this is why I highly advocate, like, for girls to, like, know what you want, put yourself first, vet the people carefully, because we all know we become lover girls, and we're very giving and loyal when we're in a situation. So it's not about, like, hating men or playing games and being selfish. It's literally about, like, the stats aren't looking good, you know? You have to
and also
yourself.
Oh, sorry. Also, you can see early on what they're going to be like. Like, if you are sick, you're on your period, how do they treat you?
Regarding that, I would say, like, there's also, like, different standards, right? Like, so a man could sometimes come through and do the bare minimum, but because in other ways he's lacking, therefore you think, oh, it's not that bad, you know? He's still got your medicine while you're sick, blah, blah, blah. So then you're going to be like, okay, like, but he doesn't take me on dates. So, like, so him doing this is really quite good because he's not abusing me, right? Because everyone looks at extremes. It's like, oh, do you get everything you want, or do you get treated like shit? But actually, it's okay to not be happy with the bare minimum. It's okay to say, hey, this is not the type of relationship I want, like, and I want more for myself. But I feel like as women, we get, like, guilty, and, like, we get worried of, like, not being grateful enough for crumbs, literally crumbs, and then we get gaslit by men being like, oh, but I did this for you, like, you should be happy. It's a valid reason to be unhappy and leave a situation if you don't feel like this, like, you're being treated the way you want to be treated. So
also, one man's I'm doing too much for you is another man's like, this is the bare minimum.
Literally, like, I don't think I ever told you this, but my ex would be like, I'm too busy to, like, go out to dinners with you and take you out on dates, and, like, I'm just busy, like, I want to work on my business and so forth. But objectively, my current boyfriend works more hours than him, and he takes me out way more than anyone has ever, and has more money. So
I genuinely feel lighter, and it's like I wake up every day, like, happy and excited and grateful, whereas before it was kind of like this, like, heavy energy on me, having to basically fight an uphill battle to convince someone of, like, why we should do anything my way, you know, not just the big small things. It's like, and it's also like, anytime I got my way, or, like, they understood my theory, it took a lot to get there, to convince them, and it's not even worth it. But now I could say to my boyfriend, hey, I think we should move to Spain, and he'll be like, okay, how should we do that? You know, like, he trusts me completely, in my opinion. Before, it would be like from London and I wanted to stay in Vienna, it, like, took so much, like, convincing just to hear me out, to even begin the conversation. So dating the right partner elevates your life completely. I'm now, like, I feel light, I feel like anything's possible, and there's, like, someone actually adding and helping you. They're on your team rather than against you.
Also, let's talk about changing someone. Like you can't really change someone. And I heard a really great analogy, and it was saying you expect that guy to change, but think about how hard it has been for you to change yourself. Now think about you pressuring someone else to change, and that is not even internal motivation from them. They're not going to change.
They're not. Like, I feel like if you meet someone and they're on a journey to being a person that they want to be, and that's like who you want, fine, doable. But you cannot come in and then like, you know, let's say they drink alcohol a lot or they smoke. They're just gonna secretly be drinking while you're not there, or secretly be smoking, and they're making the excuse, oh, it's so hard to just like cold quit or something like that. Or if you are dating a guy who's unambitious, unmotivated, like you're not gonna suddenly make him step up and motivate him. You don't do that, right? Yourself. Like if you hate going to the gym, you're not gonna go to the gym because your boyfriend thinks that you should.
Example of how much people don't change. My first boyfriend, I don't want to like completely crush this man, but he's very different to me. He's not ambitious, and I was too young to see this. Like I really had no experience. Oh my god, my battery's dying. Okay, I had to cut it off. We're gonna keep talking on here. Anyways, when we broke up, 3 months later he came back and he was like, Simone, I'm a changed man. I'm not going to describe the specific activities he was doing. And he came back and he was like, I'm doing all these things because I want to be a better person for you. And then when I didn't take him back, he started to cry, and he's like, if I knew you wouldn't take me back, I wouldn't have done all these things. Like, he's like, you're telling me I didn't have to wash my bed sheets every week. He literally said that word for word. And guess what? 5 years down the line, this guy has not changed his life at all. Because that's not the person he is, and I would have never been able to change that. And imagine if I stayed with him, like I would be living a really shitty life.
Yeah, real.
And that's terrifying.
That's terrifying.
Exactly. Like, no, that is like one of the motivators, what made me be like, okay, this isn't right for me, I'm gonna get a divorce. Like, one of the big reasons was I look at my life and, you know, like I've been with this person for 4 years at that point. And a lot of the things that I wasn't happy with never progressed, never changed. But obviously, like, and he was even a unique case where he grew a lot and he changed himself a lot. But even then, some of the same issues from the beginning stayed.
Because it's hard to change yourself. Just in myself, I'll be like, oh, I've changed. And then a trigger will come up again and, oh, I actually have not changed that much. I think it takes a lot of time and a lot of work, and then it's better to just find someone you're compatible with.
Yeah. Oh, I think we talked about this, how like, yes, you have to do the work yourself and make sure that, you know, you're in a good mental space, but it's also, there are people out there that's going to trigger you less. And obviously, you shouldn't like,
not all our fault.
like it's not all your fault. Like for so long, I felt like, you know, most of the things in my relationship was because I was asking for too much. I'm demanding. I'm too much. I'm this, da da da. But actually with the right person, you're not at all. Like, you're accepted. You're embraced. But in the wrong situations, you're the villain. You're too much. You're annoying. You're nagging. Stop talking. In the right situation, you're a princess. Yes, princess. I'll do everything for you.
Some men are just born that way, like born chivalrous, and they want to go out of their way to do these things, and then other men just don't want to do them, and you can try to make them do it, but it won't come naturally.
Well, this, I fully believe that's when you need to look at the parents. So if his dad was, you know, believed in that he has a role model ever since he was young, there is something for him to emulate, and in his head that's just how it is. And this goes for girls and guys actually. Like, you know, if your dad treated you really well, you're obviously going to think, oh, this is how it should be. So it goes both ways. But obviously, if, you know, you have any trauma in your own life, you are responsible for finding better role models and better models of how you want to operate in the future to get what you want. Yeah, I feel like people do tend to have that button innate in them. But there's also the other side where are they willing, because there are some things that some people haven't thought of, they weren't taught, they didn't grow up around it, but doesn't mean they're not willing to give it to you. And so just because someone doesn't come with the full package of what you want doesn't mean you should discount them.
The biggest things you taught me, because I was so guarded that literally everyone, one thing, I'm like, bye, you're done. And you're like, you should actually give them a chance. But if they push the boundary too much, or, you know, they're not going to give you what you want, then you leave and don't overstay.
Yeah, because it's like at the start, no one's going to know whether or not you, like, having flowers every week will make you happy or not. You know, you have to communicate that and then see what happens. No one knows these things about you at the beginning, but there are some people that are willing, and then there are some people that are not. And if they're not, bye.
Men are not dumb. They know what they're doing. My only last standing guy friend that I try to not talk to very much, Dan, he said to me, he was like, Simone, like, guys are not dumb. They know what they're doing. So he was saying, if I were a girl, I would not test men, but really observe, like, does he go around and open the car door for me? Because he was like, guys know that this is an effort actually, like, to get out and go around. And some guys, they're just not going to do that. And it will translate into other areas of the relationship. Like, is he going to go out of his way to do something else for you?
It depends what you want, right? Like, I think some girls are very like, whatever with it, but as long as you take care of XYZ. And it's really important to know what you want in yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be basically carried by the waves of other people's energy and certainty. If you're not certain, you can't communicate what you want, and then you're not going to get what you want.
You're right. And it's important to have those boundaries and those standards, because they will push them to see how much they can get away with. And unfortunately, that will also determine how much they're going to respect you. And that's a sad thing to say, but men are just like that.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't know why. Maybe it's just society programming, but it's like
womanizing. And for some guys, I think it's Madonna Hall complex as well. Okay, do you have any final messages, Helen?
Yes, I have a final message. I would just say that as a girl, you should intuitively know what you want. Make sure that the situations are always right for you, and communicate it elegantly. You know, when you act too emotionally or too extreme, it actually can harm you and like what you want. Always stay focused on actually what you want out of the situation, if this person is right for you, and so forth. I don't want to put out a toxic message where it's like, always put yourself first and, you know, you're the prize. Like, you are all these things, but when you project too much, the right person is going to sense that energy and actually back away, because they think you're being too extreme. You're, you know, on the other side of the pendulum swing and so forth. So if you want a balanced man, you have to be a balanced girl.
This is the dating oracle right here, guys. Guys, if you want Helen to make YouTube videos, go spam her on Instagram right here. Thank you so much for being on my YouTube channel. And I'm so grateful to have you in my life as well, and to give me this advice. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Okay.
Fear love, turn a shout of thugs forever. Too stronger for you. Norman Rockwell. No hype under. It's just me and you. I gotta miss you on my list. Venice bitch. On the neighborhood kiss. Sun up, bang, kiss. You're in the eye, I like the fire. And as the summer fades away, nothing gold can stay. You right eye to we make it work. You're beautiful and I'm insane. We're American made. Give me Hallmark. One dream under one lover. Make me happy and blue. Norman Rockwell. No hide under. I'll cover the. Is that right? It's just me and you. Oh God, miss you on my list. It's me, a little Venice bitch, on the street with the neighborhood kids. Signing off, they think you're in the eye. I like the fire as the summer fades away. Anything you can say. You right eye to we make it work. American made. Oh yeah. Yeah. Sound off, bang, bang, kiss, kiss. Yeah. Yeah. Signing off, bang, bang, kiss, kiss. Oh God, miss you on my lips. It's me, a little Venice bitch. On the stoop with the neighborhood kids. Signing off, bang, bang, kiss, kiss. Yeah. 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 Signing off, bang, bang, kiss, kiss. Yeah. Baby's looking down on. You should probably come over. Hanging around on. You should probably coming over. Oh God, missing on my lips. It's me, a little Venice bitch. Touch me with your fingertips. It's me, a little Venice bitch. Back in the garden, we're getting high now because we're older. In the top of my diamonds, better rims and a clover. Whoa, 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 whatever, everything, ever. Whoa, 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 whatever, everything, ever. Whoa, 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 whatever, everything, ever. Whoa, whoa, whatever. Me, myself, I like diamonds, better rims and a clover. Over and over, honey. Over and over, honey. Over and over, honey. Over and over, honey. If you were mine, I'd be jealous of your love. If you were mine, I'd be jealous of your love. If you were mine.